Strange that everything's backwards.
I know. We are live though, mate. We are officially live. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. We're doing a dual broadcast. So let's just double check it's working. And we'll give it a share just so people know where to go on Facebook. Let's see, share. Was tagged in Peter Nardi by mistake. Could have gone horribly wrong.
That'd have been funny. He's great as Peter.
Yeah, he's awesome. Him and Dave Loosely. Great guys. Okay, so we got some comments coming in. Kyle. Oh, Kyle says, oi, oi. Hi, Kyle. Hope you're well, mate. Tyler Smith says, already pre-ordered. Dude.
That's nuts.
So fast. So fast. For those that don't know, this is the Stackwatch live event. We're going to be introducing the Stackwatch here. So if you've stumbled upon this, you don't know what it's about, this is why we're both on here. For those of you that don't know Peter Turner, I mean, what are you doing here? Why'd you click this link? Everyone does, don't they, Pete? Let's face it.
No, hi, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Alex says, cheers from Spain. Thank you for joining. Brandon says, just heard about it. So, yeah, it's kind of open now, I guess. We can tell people what it is. The secret's out. For those that joined the pub quiz, they know what this is. Cannon says, good to see you guys back after the pub quiz last week. Cannon, thanks for joining on that as well. It was really cool, really fun to do.
Such a great event.
Misdirectionist Abby says, looks exciting, ordering it right now. No more memorization. Yeah, exactly. So just so, 30th position, they're testing us, the 5 of clubs. So there you go. Alessio, that just came through. And I don't know Stack. So let's explain. Pete, how did I just do that using your new Stackwatch?
So do you mind if we go back to the beginning where this all started and then the process to how it came to now so that everybody gets an insight into how this came to be? So I joined Illusionist last year. I went out to Vegas and I didn't get asked in Vegas to join the Illusionist team. What had happened was we tried to work with each other on a number of occasions in the past. And because of our busy schedules, every time we tried to arrange something, one of us had to push something one way or another way. And we ended up like ships in the night, sort of passing each other. And we finally got to sit down for the first time in years at Vegas. And I started just reeling off a series of these ideas. Oh, I've got this. I'd love to work with you on this. I'd love to work with you on that. And after we'd sat recording for a little bit, I got a call about a week later from Brad and G. And they were like, oh, what is it you're doing now? You know, and I don't know how it came about, but we ended up by the end of that call deciding that I'd be a good fit for the Illusionist team. And then we got into the first team call, which is such a weird experience because it's unlike anything else that you've ever experienced in your life. Basically, it's, you know, Lloyd Barnes, G. Clark, you've got Orban Jones and Will and the entire team of the Illusionist crew in one Skype call. And, you know, there's some order and then there's some chaos. And then Brad says to me, what have you been working on? And by this point, I'd been talking to G about 2 weeks earlier, and I'd drawn a sketch of a watch on a pad. And at the time, what I'd done is I'd put round the minute, right round to 5:10 on the actual watch face itself, the playing cards. And I originally designed this years and years ago for star signs because obviously I'm a massive fan of star sign divinations. I'm a massive fan of divining any piece of information like that. And one of the biggest questions I got is, how do I remember the star signs that correlate to what months? So I designed a thing with star signs on it, and then it became playing cards. And I sent the original idea over to G. We got the first prototype back, and me and G both got a prototype. And then G said, this would be better if it went on the bezel, because then you could cut the deck. So even if somebody cuts the deck, this silently moves around. I mean, listen to that. Not a sound. So let's say that somebody mixes the deck up and you notice that the 4 of diamonds is on the face. You just quickly locate the 4 of diamonds, swizzle it up to the top, and now you know the order of that deck from that point on. And it enables you to achieve absolute miracles, like incredible things at a moment's notice. And then we started to wear the watches in, and we found that they kept breaking. And then we tried another manufacturer, and then the bezel were making a clicking noise. So then we found another manufacturer. Then we sent some to Cody, we sent some to Dwayne, we sent some to Lloyd, and we were like, look, just go about doing your everyday stuff in this. Now, you guys probably, some of you will follow my Instagram, you'll see that I like building cars. I built a Mustang and a Rolls Royce, and I'm just building an AC Cobra. And I've literally wore this watch whilst I've been sanding, building cars, and it still looks exactly like this now. Such a beautiful, tight, nice fit. So yeah, so it's robust, it's strong, it's solid, and it's finally where we want it to be. And this wasn't due to come out until Christmas. And then what happened was we did the pub quiz, and I'd had a couple of drinks, and I brought it up on the pub quiz, and our inbox, the support illusionists were absolutely flooded in an instant. And you know, it were, thank you, Kanya. It were flooded with messages. It was flooded on Instagram. G's were flooded with messages, and we were like, look, you know, we've got so many messages. It'd be rude to hold this back any longer. And so here we are today.
Yeah, that's something that people don't really think about, is that how far ahead we are with certain projects. And this was kind of done and ordered in and arrived with us recently, you know, just maybe like last week. And it was a Christmas release. It was something we were going to keep to ourselves. And yeah, I guess, Pete, it's kind of like a happy accident now that you've brought this up. But the reason we're doing this live stream, the reason we're kind of being a bit more open and transparent with exactly what it is, how it works. Number one, there's no way you could probably make this yourself at home. So that kind of helps. And number two is we can't go anywhere. You know, Pete's on isolation where he is. I'm on isolation where I am. Lloyd's on isolation. Cody's on isolation. So just as everyone is at home, their lives are kind of turned upside down by this pandemic. We, although we're kind of able to work from home, we're very lucky in that regard. We can't actually go out to film performances of this. So I guess with that said, Pete, I'm sure people want to see how this works. And would you be able to show them? Would you be able to perform something?
No.
No, okay, cool. Any questions?
I'll show you something. Of course, I'll show you something. So bearing in mind, there's a few things that I want you all to pay attention to before we get into this. And one of the major things is that you'd be taking your own deck of cards. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use a deck this side, but what I have asked G to do over that side is to stack a deck that mimics the stack that's on the watch, which is mnemonica. Usually you take the deck yourself. Now, there are methods to stack the deck right underneath the audience's nose, which we're not going to share in this live feed, but I want to show you how fair this can look and maybe a couple of little miracles that you could perform with this. So, G, did you bring along the deck of cards?
I did indeed, yes.
So you can just hold them up for a second like this.
Mm-hmm.
Take them out of the box. What I want you to do is off camera, I want you to give these a mix. So just below the camera, yeah, just give them a mix. Now, bearing in mind, I've asked G to mix these cards up. When you're happy and content, G, that deck's mixed beyond recognition, give me a clear yes.
Yes.
Happy? Now, bear in mind, think about this for a few seconds. It said there's over a quintillion different ways in which a deck can end up in terms of its order after the deck's been shuffled. And if you were to liken that to absolutely everything, if you took every single planet in the cosmos, put life forms on those planets, assuming there's not already, gave them a deck of cards and asked them to shuffle, the likelihood is that a deck's never been in that order before and never will be again, which is mind-blowing, right? I'm going to try to now commit that order to memory in about 20 seconds. So what I want you to do is hold the deck up like this, and I want you from the back to start going through them. So just nice and slow to start, a little bit closer. Go for it. One at a time. 10 of clubs, 5 of diamonds. Keep going. 2 of clubs. 8 of clubs. Slow down a little bit. King of hearts, Jack of spades. Keep going. Keep going. Ace of clubs. Clubs, Queen of diamonds. Slow down now, one at a time. Queen of spades, 10 of diamonds, 6 of clubs, Ace of hearts. Keep going, 9 of diamonds. Stop there a second. Drop those cards onto the table, face down. Nice and slow now. This is the next half of the deck. I think I've committed half to memory. Keep going, one at a time. Go for it. Keep going a little bit quicker. Perfect. And now just fire through these. I think I've got this. Queen of clubs, perfect, and drop those on top of the rest. So bear in mind, you shuffled this deck of cards and you put them into an order that I could guarantee you don't know, right? If I ask you off the top of your head right now to name a playing card and a number, the likelihood of that card being at that number is astronomically slim. So give me a number from 1 to 52.
14.
And give me a playing card.
The 10 of clubs.
Now, the chances, like I said, that card being there is very slim, but because you don't know the order of that deck. But of course, I do. And before we get to that, I want to prove my point. So I want you to cut off an amount of cards and just show me the face card. Now, before you do that, don't show me the side of the deck. Show me the face. And I'll try to tell you the exact number of cards that you're holding in less than 5 seconds.
Just any amount or no? Just a small amount, a big amount?
Yeah, just any amount of cards.
Okay, yeah.
There's a mark. I'll wait a second. Give me 5 seconds. So that should be 15 cards you've got in your hand. Just one at a time. Count them out so everybody can see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
There's a slight delay, but there's genuinely 15 cards there.
Yeah.
100%. Drop them back on the top of the deck. I know when you're thinking that I've just remembered one playing card in one position, I want to prove to you beyond any shadow of a doubt that I now know in my mind the order of that deck of cards after you shuffle them, after you mix them. I'm going to do a few cards. I'm not going to go through the entire deck because I know that there's a few people watching. So let's start. It should start with, and hold them up one at a time and then drop them onto the table when you show the orders. It should be the 4 of clubs, then the 2 of hearts, the 7 of diamonds, a block 3. I think it's the 3 of clubs, then the 4 of hearts, the 6 of diamonds, the ace of spades, 5 of hearts, 9 of spades, the 2 of spades, and I think that proves my point that you genuinely can remember the entire order of the deck. But you know, that's no miracle because I've told you I committed that order to memory. But of course, you don't know the order of that deck. You named a playing card on blind faith. You also named a number on blind faith. If I ask you, just remind everybody, what playing card was it you were thinking of?
The 10 of clubs.
The 10 of clubs at 40, 40.
No, 14.
14. If the 10 of clubs, by some miracle, were the 14th card, would that impress you?
Yeah, I'd be blown away.
This would be the Burglass effect. Bearing in mind that you're hundreds of miles away, I've never touched that deck of cards. 14 cards, 10 of clubs. One at a time. Show them. That's 1. Keep them above the camera for me. 2.
Yeah. So 1, 2,
Lift them up a little
3,
bit.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Stop there.
11.
Stop there. 11. Nice and slow. 12. Hold them up
12,
a bit. 13. We're looking for the 6 of spades. Sorry, the 10 of clubs, wasn't it?
10 of clubs, yeah. Boom.
Oh, and there we go. The perfect Burglass effect from hundreds of miles away in an instant without having to remember absolutely anything. And you can do that, that entire routine probably faster to learn than actually stacking the deck of cards itself.
There's some really clever thinking there that I think, you know, kind of fooled people. And this is the clever thinking. I kind of want to ask you 2 questions. One is, that was the easy method, wasn't it? Like, you can go further than that because you can twist the dial. But you did 2 things there, which is interesting. I haven't seen people do it before. I'm sure that they do, but during the memorization process, there's two things. During the memorization process, you got me to actually cut back into stack.
The same as the watch. Yeah, I just stopped you at the 9 of diamonds, got you to drop them on the table, complete, which now stacked the deck back into the order that the watch was.
Which is absolutely genius. Like to do that. Super fair, super powerful. But there's one subtlety there that I've never seen anyone do. And I guess we can expose it here if we get enough comments below to say and expose it. And we can tell you exactly kind of what Pete did to get that to be so clean. And as soon as you know it, you'll be like, wow, this is instantly going into my
in it, right? I mean, and bearing in mind, just for you guys, there's so many different things you can do with this. I mean, this is, like I said, just scratching the surface. You can have somebody name a number and you know what card's there. You could do it in reverse. You could perform perfect memorization demonstrations. And I've got such a great little subtlety. There's a few things.
Okay, so here's Jalen Ford says this.
There we go. Right.
This is exactly what I want to bring up. So, Pete, you're so clever with this, so clever.
Shall I tell him what I do live with it?
So this is exactly how it would go live.
So this is it. So
you, let's say you've either mailed, that through the post to someone who's booked you for a gig, and it's already in mnemonica, and you knew that because you stacked it from your watch. They open the deck, and now what do you tell them to do?
Right. So what I do is there's a very clever little thing here. I say I always say keep them above the camera, but I say if I'm live, and this applies if you're live or over camera like we are now. I'll say to somebody at a gig, there's a table there. I say put the cards under the table and just mix them like this, right? So and that's it. So all he's doing is cutting there, right? But watch the little subtlety that I apply, right? So I say just mix them and keep your eyes on them as you're mixing them up. And now instead of doing this with my hands. Now, bearing in mind, that's under the table, right? So nobody else sees me doing this. And if you play this video back, you'll see that I actually did that, right? I actually did do that. But I do it under the tables. And then I lift my arms up and I go and just mix these until you're happy. And now I do this motion with my hands, which suggests to everybody else outside and above the table, oh, they're shuffling the cards under the table. But they're not. They're just cutting them, right? So I said, just keep mixing them under there like this and keep your eyes down and just mix them. And when you're happy they're totally mixed, then bring them out. And then I lift up and say, so they're just mixing the cards randomly. And that's it. So now what happens is the deck of cards is in the same order as the stack. It never moves because you're just circling the stack. It's just like twisting the bezel on the watch round and round and round and round. So now there's this moment where the face card's the Jack of Hearts. Now you can either rotate the Jack of Hearts, which I've located just here to the top, or this is the way I did it. The way that I do it is I just get them to go through as I'm pretending to memorize. So just go through G. So G's running through and I just keep my eyes until I see the 9 of diamonds, which I know is the bottom. There needs to be the face card to match the watch. So he's going through and I said, just slow down, yada, yada, yada. I'm pitching. And I said, just slow down there, stop a second. So keep going one card at a time. That's the 6 of clubs, the ace of hearts, 9 of diamonds. And then just drop those down a second. That's half of the deck memorized. And now the 9 of diamonds is down face on the table. You know, if he were to drop the rest of those cards on top, that deck now is in the exact order of the watch. So the first card will be the 4 of clubs. So on the top of the deck now, that'll be the 4 of clubs. Then it'll be the 2 of hearts, and then it matches the deck. The watch matches the deck now, right? So when G cuts off, just cut off an amount of cards, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. When he cuts off an amount and he shows me the face, I say, oh, give me 5 seconds. Now I look on my watch, I go around to the 3 of diamonds, which is exactly 12 cards. So there's 12 cards in his hand now, because that'll match the 3 of diamonds, right?
It's exactly 12.
Right. So now it looks like I've just guessed the amount. But let's say that G said that he wanted what card did you say before? What card was it? 10 of clubs?
10 of clubs, yeah.
And what were the position?
14.
14. So what I do now is I look down for the 10 of clubs and I just roll it round to 14 on my watch. So now this tells me what I need to do. All I need to do here, right, because the 10 of clubs is at 14, it's really simple. The 2 of spades is at 12 o'clock now. So I just do the memory demonstration from the top to the 2 of spades, and that gets dropped on the table as I'm pretending to remember the order of the deck of cards. And now the 10 of clubs will be
so we'll just show them that. So because you've rotated, and I've done the same now, I've rotated the 2 of spades to the 12 o'clock position, which exactly gets me my 10 of clubs at 14. And I'll show you if I cut the 2 of spades to the face, because it seems crazy that it doesn't work, but it does. So now when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, you get to the 10 of clubs. And it seems like it shouldn't work, because when you're cutting, or especially when you do a messy cut like this, it seems like there's no way that order could be kept. So let's say this now, ace of diamonds, I rotate that to the top. And by knowing where the ace of diamonds is, you'll now know where the order of the rest of those cards are. So so you'll know the top card should be 4 of spades if the ace of diamonds is the bottom one. And if I check, it is. Thank God that was correct. So
yeah, it's so easy. And like, gee, give me a number. And I watch how clean this looks. So watch, stack the 9 of diamonds to the bottom so it matches the watch.
Yep.
Now, you call out a number, and it normally takes me about 10 seconds to do this. So you're going to start counting when I say now, but the second hand's got to be at the top. Call out a number from 1 to 52.
32.
So wait a second. Start counting now. Go for it.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Stop there.
4.
The jack of diamonds. The jack of diamonds is at 32.
Yeah.
So that's it. So we count down 32 cards, G, and it should be that jack of diamonds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, jack of diamonds.
So simple. Less than 10 seconds. 3 seconds it took me. And I'm by no means good with, any sort of device like this. I don't use props, but this thing, so easy. And it looks cool as hell, doesn't it? It just looks like such an unsuspecting watch.
For those of you that saw us in Blackpool, we were actually wearing these.
Yeah, so I did a few performances at Blackpool with the prototypes before these ones. But yeah, and that's it. And so, Kanya, I'll be honest, I learned the 8 king stack, and years and years before that, I learned the sidestepping stack, and I stopped using the sidestepping stack because I was once performing it, and somebody said, "Oh, the cards are just going up in increments of 3." So then I moved into the 8 king stack, and the 8 king stack's great. But the problem is, if I said, if somebody said to me, "What's the 26th card in the 8 king stack?" I unless it started with the 8 of clubs, I'd probably struggle. I'd still struggle with that. And then somebody asked me, I was consulting for somebody, and they said, "Oh, I've seen this TV artist using the mnemonica stack, and I'd really love to learn the mnemonica stack." And they were like, "What do you know about stacks?" And I said, "I'm going to be really honest. And I'm always honest about my shortfalls and my strengths. And I said I could teach you routines with a stack. If we stack the deck ace to king, so you learn the routines, but I can't. I've tried to learn mnemonica. I've tried to do all that stuff, and I just kept failing. And it just got to the point where I just reverted back to the old habits of using the 8 king stack, and just not to beat a dead horse, but I was doing a performance, and it was in front of a group of really influential magicians. I'm not going to say who they are. It was the most embarrassing thing ever, and I'd secretly stacked the deck into 8 kings under their noses. And I thought I'd done the calculations right, and they named a card and they named a number. And what had happened was I had them change their mind on the number a few times, and then I Cyforced the playing card. And I did the calculations in my head, and I just sat there like proud as punch, sat there like I had a big machine gun. And I'm like, go on, just deal down. And it gets there, and I'm expecting this incredible revelation, and then just sort of got, dude, it's not the right card. Like, you're off by about 3 or 4. And I was just like, oh, well, close enough. True perfection has to be imperfect. But I was so proud, I'd almost...
Is that an Oasis line?
Yeah, it is. True perfection. But the problem with the mathematics got in the way of the performance. And if you watch that performance back that I just give, you know, that's just an off the cuff. It seems, you know, fairly tight. But this is what allows me to do that, because I don't want to be thinking whilst I'm performing of this system or this stack. Penelope. You know, I don't want to be thinking of what's the mathematics on this, what's this, what's that, what's it. I don't want to do that. And so this allows me to be me. You know, if you want slick, tight, elegant performances where you're not having to sit there with a pad and work something out, you know. So this allows you to be slick, instant, and it allows you to look really smooth in performance. And if you're a worker, you know, if you're, I mean, I did a residency, and anybody who came to watch my residency, the one thing that they'd say when they came off is, you know, how did you get that slick when you were on stage? And when people were presenting problems here, you sort of went round it. And I went over to when I were in Argentina, you know, just one last comment on it. I were in Argentina, and there were the FISM winning act, the Mentalist world champion in FISM. And he's doing this show, and the banners are dropping down, and the smokes are going off, and it was just crazy. Pyrotechnics, people are walking around, and everyone's got these big produced shows. And of course, I can't travel a show 27 hours to Argentina. So I went out with a pad, a marker pen, and their minds, and that were it. And I came off, and everybody just were like, that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. How did you get so confident of being able to do this, this, and this? And it's because of systems like this that I create to make my life easy. So that this does all the thinking for me, and then I can focus on making the performance seem slick, or going off linguistically, you know, to take the performance off under any route. So, you know.
Yeah, a few questions, Pete. You know, some people have said, how much is it? It's $52 on a pre-order price. Now, the reason we're doing a pre-order price is because we haven't filmed the explanations or the trailer yet, because obviously we're used to a certain level of quality to go out there and film these things, and being on house arrest like we are, we're unable to get out there and film in that way. However, we've set ourselves a little challenge with this just for fun, and we thought we're going to ship these May 15th, but because we have them in stock and they're ready, if you guys pre-order, and we can pre-order half or more of our stock, Pete will lose sleepless nights to record the explanations as he is now. Early. We'll ship all the watches early. First come, first serve, as fast as we can to get them out ASAP so that you've got them in hand. And then when we're out of lockdown, you'll have explanations, you'll know exactly how to use it. But when we're out of lockdown, we'll redo the explanations with any bonus tips, any things that our friends bring to us after playing with it, any things that we've thought of in the time it takes to kind of redo those. So it's a cool way of, because there's always people, every time we release a product, there's always people that come up with cool presentations to these things afterwards. So yeah, that's why we're doing it this way. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. I know a lot of you have pre-ordered so far. Love it. Great. One guy, Spencer Elvis, is there any memorization required to do this, Pete?
No, not at all. Basically, let me show you the watch close up so that you can see this.
Yeah, I'm going to maximize you on the screen as well.
You could see around the bezel, there's these playing cards. Let me just line it up so it's perfect. So let's say, for example, I said to you right now, bearing in mind this is backwards because the call's coming out backwards. So this is 12, this would be 15 over here, this would be 30 down here. What's the 15th card? What's the 6 of spades? You can see it right there.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that instantly. What's the 5th card? You just look down at it, and you do that under the guise of saying wait before you start counting, and you're just literally looking around. There's no memorization whatsoever. If the deck moves, The only time that you're ever going to need to spend more than a few seconds, and we're talking 5 seconds maximum, is, let's say somebody calls out the 8 of hearts. What you're going to do is you're going to say, or the 8 of hearts is on the face of the deck. You say, I'm going to just go through the cards in my head. I'm going to give myself 30 seconds starting now. And you just run your finger around the edge until you see 8 of hearts. There it is. And you just swivel that to the top. I'm ready to start. Boom. That's it. And that's as quick as it is. That's the longest that you're ever going to take with this. And now that tells me the order of the deck from the 8 of hearts right round. And the only time that you have to make one change, and this is not a big change at all, because there's 52 playing cards in a deck and there's 60 minutes on a watch face, we put this little chrono. I don't know if you can see this little gap here, chrono. And all that means, and this is all you've got to do, let's say that you want to take the 4 of clubs, or let's say you wanted to take the 9 of diamonds to 15. You take the 9 of diamonds to 15, and then all you do, and this is the move, you just swivel it back 8. That's it. Just swivel it back 8 to make up for that 8. That's the only time you have to do it. You don't have to do the maths. You literally just swivel the watch back 5 and then 1, 2, 3, and you're done. And now you know the order of the stack to get the 9 of diamonds at that position, at that point, at that time. Nice and easy. You know, and if you didn't want to do that, let's say that you didn't want to add the 8 or you didn't want to move the watch round, well, then just count from the face of the deck. And that's it. You know, you just count from the face of the deck and you don't have to move it around. You could just perform the routine. You can give the choice of the, you know, when will we actually be working again though? So Matthew Novak's got a good question there. He's asking, when will we be actually working again? Let me tell you something, guys. You might be thinking to yourself that this lockdown is going to cause a problem on the performing economy. And I can tell you 100% that it's absolutely not. And the reason that it's not going to cause it is this, is most of you will agree, I'm sure, that as soon as this lockdown's over, the first thing most people want to do is get out to a restaurant, get out to a bar, get out to have dinner. So yeah, we're going to go through this shortfall where you get time to practice this stuff. But I promise you this, if you manage to stick out this little bit of time that we're in lockdown now, there's going to be an absolute boom in the entertainment industry. And you'll be well practiced with this and you'll be out there nailing it as soon as you do get back out there. You know, so I don't think it's, you know, a long time. I'm just going to go through the comments, G.
Yeah, it's got one from Larry Sty. It says, order mine. Can we get a copy of this live event as well? Yes, you absolutely can get a copy of this. DP Magic. I'm 15 years. Is this worth for me? Tell me. It depends what kind of magic you want to do. If you're big into card magic and you don't want to put the time into memorizing, or you can't put the time into memorizing mnemonica, then yeah, I'd say it is for you. And just to talk through quality whilst you find some more comments, Pete. So yes, this is metal. This is a metal watch. It's very weighty. It feels, heavy and substantial. We designed it like this for a few reasons. One, it's black, it's mysterious, it looks cool, whether it's casual or with dress wear. So if you've got a suit and things, that's great. But this is not a cheap Chinese watch. You know, it's a Japanese SL68 quartz movement. The band is fully steel. It's not made of tin. It's 30 meters water resistant. So, you know, if you want to go swimming with it after your performance, or after you do a performance, someone dares you to jump in a pool, you can absolutely do it. And also it's got luminous absorption, which is just a fancy way of saying it glows in the dark. So like most kind of divers watches with a spinning bezel, they have a luminous numbers. So during nighttime performances, that kind of emits a bit of light for you so that you can see a lot better. And someone asked about a leather band. We don't do a leather band because bezel watches traditionally, you can ask any horologist, don't have leather bands. They don't really suit leather bands, so we didn't add a leather band. And in terms of sizing, these are fully adjustable, and with every watch, you will get an easy pin tool that you just screw and it pushes out the pin. Pete did his today whilst we were talking on his second stack watch. So he literally broke out a brand new one just for this live event. Did the pin, 2 seconds later it was done. So, we really have thought of everything when it comes to this. And I see a lot of magic props that come out, and they're kind of, as cheap as they can be. This is not one of those things. I actually wore this to our illusionist party in Blackpool, as a dress watch because it looks cool.
And that's it. So there's somebody's asked, is the battery of the watch replaceable? So let me answer a couple of things. Well, there were an interesting quote that I came up with for the trailer, which we've not managed to shoot, and it says that even a watch that isn't working is right twice a day. But the interesting thing with this watch is even if the battery stops working, you'll still be right 100% of the time when it comes to the performance. But to answer your question, yes, if you take this to a watchmaker, they can take the battery out and they can put it back in. If you're confident doing that yourself, we're not advocating people start peeling the backs off and trying to change the batteries. But if you are confident doing it, yes, you can. In terms of the leather band, we don't do them with a leather band, but this is a standard size steel band. And so if you got a leather strap and you were good at cutting or crafting leather, you could put a band on this if you wanted to. I like the black steel band. It feels really great. So that's that.
Someone just asked, does it tell time? Yes, it does tell time.
Yes.
Perfectly keeps time. Someone else says, hey, I'm late to the game. What do I do? You can go to Illusionist now. You can type in the search bar at the top, stack watch, and it will bring it straight up. Or you can click the product page link in the YouTube description or in the Facebook description, depending on where you're watching this, and you can click straight through. So Lance says, amazing creation, brother.
Lance. Adam, you asked, if I don't know the stack, do you teach it? We don't need to teach you the stack because all you do is put the triangle to 12 o'clock and then just put the first playing card, which is the number 1, on the table, the second playing card, and you put it down 4 of clubs, first card, you go through your deck, 2 of hearts, and you just stack it to the watch. And yes, DP Magic, it can be used for the ACAN plot. We just performed that about 10 minutes ago. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, so this is something, when I met up with Dynamo last year, he was performing a lot of stack stuff. Like when he meets up with magicians, he's always got a deck of cards in his hand. And his favorite book was In Order to Amaze by Pitt Hartland. And he said that on a kind of recent interview we did with him for Magic Stream. So everything that may have been out of reach before, either from Mnemonica, the actual book by Juan Tamariz, or from Pitt Hartland's In Order to Amaze, is now on the table without the necessary memorization, because you've got the stack there as a crib, and you've also got the ability to twist to know the brand new order if the deck is cut or mixed, and we went into that earlier. So yeah, super fun device, and I think it's just so great.
And as you've seen the subtleties, if you've watched this from the beginning, what is going to be my excuse or purpose when I'm performing ACAN to look at? You don't need to look at your watch. This is the point. So that if you'd have seen the demonstration I did earlier on, it's not even like you're looking at your watch. You're literally giving yourself, let's say, for example, an amount of cards were held up. What you do is you go, before you hold them up, you'd hold up an amount of cards and you go, give me 10 seconds starting now. And I already know that. I know what it is. And you make it out like you're going to go, you look, you get your peak, and then you go, give me 10 seconds starting now. And you've already done it. With the ACAN, it's not about that. If you'd have watched the routine earlier on, what you'll find is it looked like I was shuffling, or G was shuffling the deck, and because I've created that little subtlety just for this, where they're taking the cards and they're shuffling them, they bring them out. It's a different face card to what was on it before. You're getting them to go through and then they cut the deck, restacking it back into the order of this right underneath everybody's nose, and the guys are remembering the order of the deck. If you've got the deck in front of you, you can literally spread them and go, okay, I've remembered them. I remembered this. You don't need to touch the deck. I never touched it. I've just done it from hundreds of miles away. There's no mathematics. There's no, there's nothing that you need to learn. You just buy the watch, stack the deck to the order that's around the bezel. They can then cut the cards, and mix the order in a cyclical sense. And you just roll the bezel You know, you just roll the bezel to get to that point, but it allows you to be able to do it. And just, I think one thing that's confusing people, G, is how I managed to get the 10 of clubs to 14. So let me just explain what my process is to get the 10 of clubs to 14, because if you wanted, you could literally just take the cards, run through and cut whatever.
Well, do you want to show people two things? You mix two subtleties. You used your gypsy peak.
Well, let's incredible. Can we run it through from the beginning?
Yeah,
break it down piece by piece. So what we did at the beginning, well, you just for clarity, because you've already seen the card, you've seen the number, you know, just for clarity's sake, I'll break it down piece by piece. So let's pretend I'm sat with G. I've got my deck of cards. So let's pretend that there's a table right where the deck is right now, where G is, right? I say, what I want you to do, and I take my hands under the table. So my hands go under the table, and I say, I want you just to mix these cards like this, G. So he starts mixing them, right? And then I come out from above the table and I go, so just mix them up until you're happy. And I do this with my hands, which to everybody else makes them think to themselves, oh, the deck's being shuffled, right? But it's not. It's just circling. It's a cyclical stack, so it's circling the order of the deck. So we stop there a second. So now what I do is I want to get the 9 of diamonds back to the face of the deck. So I ask G to hold them up and just go through them as I pretend to have a look. So he just goes through them, and I'm not doing anything here until I spot the 9 of diamonds. I'm pretending to remember. I'm not doing anything. It's just all fluff. And then he keeps going. I say, just slow down, stop there a second. 6 of clubs, ace of hearts, 9 of diamonds. Take those and just drop them face down on the table. So 6 of clubs, ace of hearts. Drop it down for me. And now that's half of the deck remembered. Now what's happened is just set the 9 of diamonds back to the face. Now I pretend to remember these. It's just fluff. So again, just quickly run through them. Yada, 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 yada. Just they get dropped on the top. So now what's happened is the 9 of diamonds is the last card. The 4 of clubs will be the first card. So it just follows the stack on my watch. I've just restacked the deck back into order. Now, if you watch the performance again, you'll notice that it's so quick and so slick in performance, not whilst I'm explaining it, that it flies by so beautifully. Now, the first thing that I do is I hold my watch up and I say, I'm going to give myself, I asked G to name a card and a number. So what did you say it was?
I said 10 of clubs. Yeah.
Let me tell you what I do here. I remember 10 of clubs 14. I don't do anything with my watch just yet. So first thing that I do,
just to interrupt you, Drew says, does the 9 of diamonds move matter, or does it make it easier? Drew, yes, it makes it easier, although it doesn't matter. You can have it in this order if you want.
Yeah, and you just move, and then at that point,
you just move the bezel, but it just makes it easier, and there's some interesting subtleties there.
What's on the face at the minute?
10 of clubs.
10 of clubs. So now I've just moved the bezel around. So the top card should be the 5 of diamonds.
So let's have a look. Yeah.
And then the next card will be the king of diamonds, 2 of clubs, 3 of hearts, 8 of diamonds, 5 of clubs. So basically, I just moved the bezel of the watch to match the face card. That's it. But let's put them back to the 9 of diamonds on the bottom for clarity's sake. I just made my life easy, so I wasn't having to do anything in performance by having G stack the order of the stack back to the watch. So now what I asked G to do is this. I bring my watch like this, and I ask him to name a card. So he says 10 of clubs, and you said 14, was it?
Yeah, 14, right? Yeah.
So now I just casually glance down and say, I'm going to give myself 10 seconds to do this. And I just clock where the 10 of clubs is. It's here. I remember that. I remember that for a second. That's all I need to remember. But for now, I just say, cut off an amount of cards and hold them up, G. So G cuts off an amount of cards. And we've frozen. There we go. Queen of hearts. So now what I do is I go around my watch to the Queen of hearts, which is the 11th card. Right? So now he'd count those and there'd be 11 cards there. He doesn't need to count them, but there would be. Right? They get put back on the top. This is the beautiful moment. So as everybody's reacting to that, I now turn the bezel of the watch round so that the 10 of clubs is at 12. Right? So that's now there. All I do now is I know, sorry, 10 of clubs is at 14.
14, yeah.
Which is what I did in performance. So now all I do is look at 12 o'clock, it says 2 of spades. So I don't know if you can see that, but 12 o'clock, it says 2 of spades. So now I just pretend to memorize the order of the deck. Watch what happens. I go, first card should be 4 of clubs. And then that gets dropped down, face down on the table. Don't rearrange your stack. But then it should be the 2 of hearts, 7 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, 4 of hearts, 6 of diamonds, ace of spades, 5 of hearts, 9 of spades, 2 of spades, and that proves that I can do this.
But
I just say that.
But Pete, go back and do your technique to show them how you did it during the performance.
So in performance, I don't want to be like this. 4 of clubs, 2 of hearts, 7 of diamonds. So what I do is I rest my arm on the table like this, and I put my head like this, and I pretend I'm remembering, and I go, the first card, and I tap my head, is the 4 of clubs. Then it's a black 3. I think it's not. It's the 2 of hearts. Then it's the 7 of diamonds. Then the black 3, the 3 of clubs. And I make it seem like I'm doing this and I'm remembering, but all I'm doing is just looking like this. Is a gypsy peek. And I keep dealing. So they keep dealing now. Keep dealing to the 2 of spades. So I stop with whatever cards at 12 o'clock, right? And then that gets dropped down. So drop that down. And now, whatever happens at this point, if you've just followed what I've just said, the 10 of clubs will now be at 14. So you count 14 cards, and it stacks the deck into the A-can for me without having to do anything.
Yeah, 14
and there it is.
Then.
Boom. And it's that simple, just by rolling the bezel round to that time. Nice, easy, effortless. It enables you to just, and I'm using the guise of, let me show you. I haven't just remembered one card when he does this. I've remembered all of them. Look, I think that proves my point. And now I've just moved however many it needs to be moved around just to match whatever cards at 12 o'clock. And then boom, we're at, we're whatever position it needs it to be. Let's say that I wanted to do, just to overflower this and just gild the lily. Let's say that I wanted the 8 of spades at 15. So I move the 8 of spades to 15 like this. So now the top card is the ace of spades. So all I have to do is from the top, I'd go 4 of clubs.
Wait. So I'm moving.
No, you don't move anything.
Oh,
the 9 of diamonds. So the top card, the 8 of spades, is going to end up at 15. I've just moved the 8 of spades to 15. So 4 of clubs, and then keep dealing them. Yep, and then it'll be the 2 of hearts, 7 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, 4 of hearts, 6 of diamonds, ace of spades. That's it. Now, if they go on the bottom, when you count the 8 of spades, will be at 15.
Yeah, 15.
That's it. So the watch does all the work for you. It stacks whatever card's named at whatever number, as long as you roll that playing card to that number on your watch, and then just reel off the number of cards till you get to 12 o'clock from where it says chrono. Every single time, it makes it look like you're doing this incredible memory demonstration. And at the same time, not only that, it allows you to instantly have any card appear at any number without any apps. And the beauty is this, don't get me wrong, I've always said, I've always said it's not just that you can swivel it around. I've always said that I'm not a massive fan of electronic mentalism. I'm not a massive fan of takeaway mentalism. And the reason I don't like electronic mentalism is this is a true story, a genuinely true story. So I was consulting for a guy. I'm not going to tell you his name, but he won the Nordic Championships with a routine that I created. And it involved the use of a famous prop that's an electronic prop. This guy goes to this Nordic Championships and he destroys it. He's waited 10 years to come first place. We work together. He goes in there and he becomes first place. He goes off to another championship, becomes first place. Then he gets invited to compete at FISM in Blackpool. So he comes into Blackpool and he goes down into the basement where they perform the acts. He goes out and the electronic prop fails. It doesn't work. And his entire 10-15 championship act were destroyed based on the fact that the stage is underneath the ground in Blackpool, making it like a bunker. And it ruined it. Everybody stood there. And for 10-15 minutes, this guy just had to look around as if to say, what do I do from here? These watches that are being created, like other watches that are on the market, whether it's you're using an iWatch or whether you're using the Turner watch or whatever, and I haven't used them, so I can't comment on the reliability of them. But the last thing that you want is you don't want them to die when you're in the middle of a performance, or you don't want it to stop syncing up with your phone. You don't want it to get to a point where you're having to rely on some backup method because the piece of technology's failed you. Now, this is not going to fail you. It's mechanical. So it's almost like your own hands, but just in this motion, it minimizes this and reduces it right down into this. And you're never going to have a moment of failure because it's all on just being able to say the 9 of hearts, you want it at 10, you just turn it like that and you're done. you can instantly perform any card at any number. You can instantly perform any memory routine. You can instantly know the order of any playing card. And I can tell you this, when you get the tuition from me, and this is a fact, this is 100% of a fact. So what I do is I'm just literally sat there. I look at the card and I say, I'm going to give myself 10 seconds. So this is like this. I've just loosened it off to show you. I say, I'm going to give myself 10 seconds. So I hold it like this. I say 10 seconds starting from now. That's it. And I'm done. I've set the watch where it needs to be and I'm done, right? It's as quick as that. And to reset it, you just put the triangle back to 12 o'clock and you're ready to perform again. So I just set it to the order of, whatever the stack is on the face, and I just reset it within the space of about 4 seconds. I wanted to be able to slickly perform, and this allows me to do that. And to go back to what I was saying, I've never had confidence with stacks either. I've failed in performance a number of times, and I won't now because of this. Yeah, if I'd have had a piece of technology like this, and I call it tech, it's not really technology, a piece of hardware is probably a better word, then it makes so many things available on the table. If you have any more questions about it, I mean, I'm confused. Somebody else has said they're confused how the deck was shuffled. Go back, I explained that. Don't even know how anything works. Can you put it simply? Well, I've done that as well, but I'll show you the thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say this live stream will be available on YouTube and Facebook. As soon as we end it, you can go back and view it. And we're also going to put it out in the email today. So if you're subscribed to our newsletter on Illusionist, you can check out in the email. And so, yeah, all of this info will be there just to, because some people have joined later than others.
Go back and watch the performance after this and you can see how slick it is. But I was just saying that I 100% guarantee one thing. And that's this. I saw David Berglass, who was one of my absolute idols, performing his Berglass effect. And it was one of the most incredible things that I've ever seen. And so let me tell you the story. I go to my Magic Circle lecture and I'm sat and somebody comes over and says, God, you must be lucky. And I'm like, why? They're like, David Berglass has come out of retirement to come and watch you lecture. Now, if there wasn't already enough pressure on the fact that I was lecturing for the Magic Circle, David Berglass had actually come to watch me lecture. And after the lecture, he comes backstage. I'm just packing away my things. And he says, I want to show you something. And he performed the legendary Berglass effect on me. And it worked perfectly. One of the greatest stories that I've got to share in Mentalism. I got to sit with one of my heroes and he blew me away with something that I'd only read about up until that point. With this watch, in the thing that I'm teaching you, there's a way to be able to do the Berglass effect. The cards are in the box. Somebody names, it's silent, it doesn't click. Somebody names a number somebody names a number from 1 to 52, and then you can Psi-Force them a playing card, and I'll teach you a list of different Psi-Forces that are mechanical, some of them will be psychological, so that what you can do is you can replicate the Berglass effect. So the stories that you've heard about Berglass, you'll be able to perform something very, very similar yourself with little to no work. And so in the tuition, what I'll do is I'll teach you a Psi-Force for every single playing card inside the deck. So if somebody names, say, 15, you know that it's the 6 of spades. I'll teach you how to confidently force the 6 of spades so that you'll be able to do the Berglass effect. But with a watch, you don't need to use the Psi-Forces. You can literally just use the memory demonstration that I did earlier on, and it stacks the deck into whatever card and numbers named anyway. So, it enables you to be able to perform any card at any number. It enables you to be able to do all these miracles, and this does it all for you. And, at $52, does this watch give someone who already knows mnemonica very well any advantages? Yes, Matt, and the reason it gives you an advantage is this. I know Isabella's Star 3 off by heart, and there's 3 different systems that a lot of people struggle, even whilst they've learned. Now, this is the thing. When I'm in performance, I could know a stack like the 8 Kings stack. I don't want to have to sit there and take 5 seconds to try to work out what cards at what position. Let's say the deck's been mixed and the 8 of hearts is on the bottom. If I said to you the 8 of hearts is on the bottom, what's the 16th card now? It might take you 10, 15 seconds to work that out, even if you're already accomplished massively with mnemonica. I don't want to waste that 10, 15 seconds. I want my audience to feel the impact of that 10, 15 seconds by filling it with something that's going to be so integral to the performance that it doesn't, I'm not killing 10, 15 seconds with dead time or trying to do this. Literally 2-3 seconds is what I want to be spending even after the deck's been mixed. So to answer your question, Matt, yeah, because I personally want to focus on every word that I'm saying. I want to focus on the impact of every one of those words. And I want to focus on the fact that my audience leave that performance and go, that was one of the greatest things that I've ever seen. And it's going to be unrivaled with any experience you ever have, ever again. So to answer your question, yeah, if you know mnemonica, of course it is. And if you learn mnemonica from using this watch to such a degree that you know it seamlessly, well, you've still got a cool watch to wear whilst you're doing it, just in case you panic or you forget. And it's always great to have a cheat sheet, always great. And you've got one here, and it looks great. Nobody's suspecting it. It's not a piece of paper. It's not, you've not got it written on the card box. I literally went to, I were doing a close-up competition. I were a judge at a close-up competition at the Leeds Magic Circle probably about 2 months back. And a guy were using a stack, and he literally had it on the side of the box, and he was going like this. And it wasn't that the performance were bad. It was just that the guy had cribbed it on the side of a box. As I'm sat like this and I'm just remembering the order of the deck, this is what I'd do if I was remembering anyway. Just cover and briefly just turn it, hold it up, show everybody, drop it on the table. So it allows me to be able to do that. So it's such, like I said, I'm so proud of it that I get a little bit excited. So if I'm going off on a tangent, I do apologize.
There's one thing to mention as well. One benefit if you do know mnemonica is if you know mnemonica and someone cuts the deck, so let's say they cut it here, there's now a new order to that entire deck. So if they now say 6 of spades, 34, you've got to know that 6 of spades is 15. And I only know that from using this. I don't know mnemonica at all. Then you've got to deduct by whatever position it is now. You've got to do the math with it, which is... it becomes a nightmare. But with the watch, you just move 6 of spades. So whenever you kind of cut the deck, 5 of diamonds is that new face card now. You move the 5 of diamonds on here to that 12 o'clock position, and you'll know the new order of the deck. You'll know where the 6 of spades will fall in this order, and then you'll know how many cards that you need to displace, or how many cards you need to pretend to remember to get that back to that position. So yeah, there's some benefits in that regard as well. And I know Lloyd Barnes does a lot of mnemonica work. And when we showed him this, he was blown away because he could see the further applications for him and the things that he could do, especially to ruin magicians at conventions by, giving them a deck in mnemonica and getting them to cut it a few times first.
Well, as a testament to how powerful this is, so Lloyd is one of the hardest people to get hold of on the phone, even for me. And I was ringing him, trying to get hold of him because I was so excited to show him this. And for 2 weeks, whilst it went from drawing stage to first prototype, Lloyd didn't answer one call. I get on the team call and Brad's like, oh, show us what you're working on. And I performed the routine that I just showed you earlier on to everybody on the team call, and they all lost their shit. And as soon as that call had finished, the next day, Lloyd rings me. Dude, I've got an idea for this stack watch. And I'm like, right, Lloyd, we sit for an hour. The next day, Lloyd rings me. Dude, I've just been tinkering with this and I've just thought about this. The next day, oh, I've just shot some cool photographs of this. And then the next day, and for about 2 weeks straight after that point, Lloyd were calling me with new ideas every single day. So that's a testament to how powerful this is. You've got a man that works for as little as possible so that he can get off to eat his KFC, calling you like every single day just to share with you new ideas that he's been messing about with. And he said to me since, he's like, he goes, I haven't had to worry about remembering anything. He goes, I just sit down with a watch on now and that's it. I'm good, So it just gives you such an open scope to be able to perform incredible things that, you'd be mad not to get one.
So should we take some questions now? I guess we've showed people what it is. We finally revealed what it is, what it does, how it can help them, and if it's given people the decide whether it's for them or not. Do you want to take some just random questions just for a few minutes and just see if you've got a question, type it in the comments below. They'll come through here and we'll see if we can get those answered. They don't necessarily have to be about the watch. They can be about anything else.
You can ask
Zachary here says, does the bezel spin both ways? Yes, it's completely bi-directional and silent. So I'll hold it by my mic. No noise there. If you can hear any noise, my dog is eating a bone, but there's no noise in the watch.
That were a difficult stage in the production to find someone that could make it move in both directions and silently. Because first we got rid of it, the clicking, and it only still moved one way. Then we had to get another prototype that moved the other way but clicked one way. And then we found a way to get it so it spanned both ways with no clicking. And the actual clicking is because it's underneath this is what holds it on firmly. And we had a piece of technology made so this does it silently without clicking, and it's held more strongly and more sturdily than the original prototype that we got.
Yeah, so let's see. Mike says, so it's a bezel insert. It's not an insert. This is actually built into the watch. Emma says, the watch is also good to practice remembering mnemonica anywhere, in the traffic, outside, in the coffee shop. The stack's literally in your hand always. That's a really good point. If you want to get this as an entry-level item and then work your way up to knowing mnemonica, this is a great way to practice.
That's it. You don't have to carry around a deck of cards. And nobody thinks you're strange when you're sat on a train laying your cards out one at a time. They're looking over as you're going, 4 of clubs, 6 of diamonds. You know, you literally just sit there, do 1 to 5, remember those, and then call them back, spin the bezel, do the next 5. How do you think the economic crisis due to COVID-19 will affect illusionists? So let me answer that question for you. We all are a team. You know, we're all a team. And the thing is that because we're such a team and we all strive to bring out, you know, we all get given specific roles and we all do our own thing. And to be honest, it's a lot like Google. The best way to describe illusionists is like working for Google. We have carte blanche to work at home. And as long as we're all continuing to bring stuff to the table and we're all working to film stuff, you know, but even we're taking on roles that we wouldn't usually tell. Like I film stuff and I edit stuff and send it. G has started doing some stuff in terms of design, and we're all just picking up the slack. I don't think it's going to affect us at all. I think if anything, as a team, we've become stronger because of it, you know, and we're going to strive to keep getting stronger and stronger and create more incredible stuff to bring to you. And more importantly, if anything, it's given us time to all actually sit down in one place and actually talk through creatively what the future holds. So I could promise you, without saying too much, you know, it's
yeah. So it says, can the watch tell me where I cut exactly to match the freely named card and freely named number? Yes, it does do that.
It does do that. You don't need to do any memory work. If they cut to a card, you can tell them the number. They can tell them the card. It'll tell you how many to move around.
Oh, Jeffrey Tam. Jeffrey we met in the Philippines. He's a beast. Scale 1 to 10, how easy is this? Especially to those magicians. Go on, Pete.
You don't need to. There's nothing to do. It does it for you. You know, the only thing you need to be able to do is that with your fingers. And if you can roll the bezel on a watch, you know, it's perfect. Tony, nice one, dude. Honestly, I think you're going to get so much out of this. Just, you know, a little bit of playing with it, and you'll be coming up with your own stuff to kill people within no time. How did I get my start in mentalism? So a lot of people don't know this. I don't think I've ever told this story on camera, but I might be wrong. If you look at the ends of my fingertips on this hand, I actually chopped these fingers, so the fingernails, and you can't see them, but like the fingernails on this hand are lumped out. And I actually was a card technician, I suppose. And I were running away from somebody one day, and I pulled the door, and I were on one side of the door, and my fingers were on the other. And that were it. I thought my card career's over. And in an interview, my dad said that, you know, one of the best card performers he'd ever seen. And then I lost my edge because of that. And I was so depressed by it that I started to try to learn things that were more mental as opposed to physical. And then I saw Darren Brown, and I was like, right, I need to create things that look like this. So I took my skill sets as a magician and applied them to that. And all of a sudden, I found that what I was doing was slightly different to everybody else. And, you know, it sort of took off from there. I released a book with Kent and Nepper. And to be honest with you, for the first 5 years of me being in mentalism, I were attacked harshly pretty much every day. You know, naysayers, oh, this is not going to work. This is too bold. He can't do this. And then I've met thousands of people over the years, you know, performing in performance venues and whatnot. And slowly but surely, people were like, the stories are true. This guy can literally do this stuff. So that's it. And here we are now, you know, about much later. Hey, Lee, thank you for joining us. It's lovely. It's lush. But yeah, so has anybody else got any questions you want to ask me about? You can ask me absolutely anything. Nothing's off the table. Somebody else. We've gone quiet. We've gone radio silent. I don't know if it's just because my internet's so bad.
No, it's good. Riley says, just ordered, can't wait. Let's see. Joshians, that's one hell of a story.
Yeah, story.
Let's see. Toyota?
What do I say when asked, how did you do that? Well, my presentation for this is that I've got an eidetic memory. So the idea is that I spent time learning how to remember the order of a shuffled deck of cards because I'm a boring bastard. And when everybody else were out dating and doing other things, I sat in my bedroom just playing with playing cards. It doesn't matter, you know, your presentation's your own, and that's the beautiful thing about this. We're literally giving you the vehicle and you're the driver. So if you decide that you want to say that this is some psychic ability or that they're using blind faith and intuition to arrive at the playing card, you can do that. You could say that this is a memory feat. You can say that this is, if you wanted, how you fooled a bunch of croupiers in a casino. You can say that you used it in a back room of a gambling tournament and you got caught and beaten up. It's up to you what story you want to use to sell this. But you know, that comes down to your own preference. You know, and the watch is just a watch. It's an innocent thing that most people wear, so nobody's ever looking at it for anything else other than that. I am excited, Moreau. Take a look at this. Here's a story for you. I don't know if you can see that on my hand. Moreau's just posted, and that says Moreau on my hand there. So we're out in Spain, and we're having a whiskey in Spain, and me and Moreau have been meaning to catch up for years. And I'd had a few whiskeys, and Moreau says to me, bro, I wish I were there having a whiskey with you. I said, no, I wish you were here, bro. And he said, don't worry, I'm right there in the palm of your hand. So I downed my whiskey, went straight to the nearest tattoo shop, got Moreau tattooed in the palm of my hand, came back and said, you are, bro, and you're in the palm of my hand for the rest of your life. And there you are. So it's nice of you to join in, Moreau. What you can do, Adam.
We've got a question. Adam, this is a great question. Can I pay monthly for it? If you can, as long cash this month. A lot of people, you know, they're suffering at the moment with the COVID thing. Maybe they've lost jobs. They've lost gigs. We've got a call tomorrow with a company that allows split payments, and they're going to help us out and install something on our checkout. So although it's not today and it might not be next week, and we can't guarantee that it'll be soon, we are looking at this to be able to, in future, split payments if you need to, if you know that you've got something coming. So yeah, we don't want to get into the kind of debt business. We suggest that, you know, if people don't have it right now, that maybe it's not, you know, suitable for you to get it right now. But if you know you've got a paycheck coming at the end of the month, or you kind of waiting on it and we release it mid-month, it's a great way of doing it if that suits you. So that's a great question, Adam. Thank you. Dean Stricklandson, great price. Let's see.
We have Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig's watching.
Oh, we love Mr. Pig, most famous virgin. So we really need a trader explaining all of this.
You can sum it up in one sentence, and that's this. This watch will make you seem like a legend. Done. You don't need a trailer. It'll do all the work for you.
Lucas says, for how long will this pre-sale be? Somebody else asked this question. The pre-sale price will last until we start shipping the watches. So either we start shipping on May 15th, or if we sell out of the watches, then obviously the pre-order price is gone, because by the time they come back into stock, it'll be the regular MSRP of $75. So the pre-sale price, if you want to take advantage, is $52. It's a crazy good saving. Let's see. Loads of questions coming in at the moment. Moreau asks, water resistant?
Up to 30 meters. But to be honest with you, whenever a watch says that, I mean, I wouldn't go swimming in one anyway. That's just me. I mean, it says it's 30 meters. It's waterproof. It says waterproof tactical. It's 52 meters, it's saying.
Okay, so we've got Romanos as well, who is kind of working on something.
Let's bring him in.
Yeah, let's bring him in. So, Romanos, I know you're
that.
watching. If you check your Skype, I've sent you an invite link, and you can join this live stream, and we'll get you involved.
So
Jeffrey
just to
says,
give you...
only available in black. Yes, it is only available in black at the moment.
Just to give you a background on something. Oh, it looks rugged. Is the watch substantial? Let's see. It's dented my table, but it's not damaged the watch. And it literally has dented my table. I don't know if you can see here. It genuinely has. So yeah, it's substantial. It's solid. And it's still ticking, just in case you're wondering. And it's not set at the right time because I was using it for something earlier on. But it is still ticking and it works perfectly.
We don't recommend doing that, by the way, to smash your table.
If it had broke, you'd have seen it there. I didn't know that question was coming. I just thought the mood struck me, so I just beat the watch.
Let's see. Jake Allen says, how big is the watch case? Do you know what? We've not been asked that before. I don't actually know, but I can go grab a measuring tape now and measure it for you. It looks to be about 35 mil to 42 mil. Within that range, it's a men's watch. It's a substantial men's watch.
It's the size of a Rolex Submariner.
Oh, look at this! We've got Romanos on the stream.
Hey, brother, how are you doing, guys?
Okay, so this is a really interesting story, isn't it, Romanos? How this kind of came to be.
So let me tell you the story. Let me tell you the story of this because I'm going to give you the background before Romanos joined. So we're at Blackpool. G's got his watch on at the Illusionist party. I'd taken the watch. We'd taken the watches. We'd shown a few people the performance. Somebody else posted in these comments somewhere they'd seen us at Blackpool. And then Romanos comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, bro, you want to see what I'm working on?" And then he brings out a ring. Have you got the ring with you?
Yeah, it's here.
There you go.
Yeah, it's this. I'm not sure
and then
you guys
so.
can read it. Yeah.
So I was talking to him. I'm like, "You're not going to believe this." So I brought up the phone and I showed him the workings of this watch. And I'm like, great minds think alike. Now, most of the time, what happens in this situation is that you either both release your products and one will clash with the other one will not work as well as the other one. They end up competing, or someone says, "Oh, this idea was stolen." But luckily enough, we managed to bump into each other, and you'd seen what it is we were working on. We saw yours, and I said to Romanos. And Romanos said something incredible. He's like, "Dude, like this would make your Isabella's Star 3 so easy." And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, "You could do this with the star signs and the mumps and whatever else." He said, "I've got a prototype for that made." And the first thing I said is, "Let me get on the phone." And I said, "We're going to come out to Greece and we're going to work with Romanos. So just as an insight into what's coming next, we're going to be doing a range of different products like the ring, this watch, obviously, that utilize stacks. This one's going to be for the star signs and the mnemonica, the mumps with the star signs, and it'll also have a locked symbol on it so that you know the symbol for the star signs if you wanted. We're still tinkering with the designs and messing around, but in the near future, we'll be coming into Greece to go film this with Romanos. So we're all going to, create something together. Do you want to tell them about how this moves and what it feels like on your hand?
Yeah, well, basically, to be honest with you, man, now that I watched everything you said, I was listening to everything you were saying, and now it's basically the first time that I really had, figured out how your watch is working. Because all this time you send me pictures and stuff, but I didn't really have a very clear idea of how it works and stuff. And I think it's brilliant, to be honest with you, for what you're trying to do. Your version is way better. It's more practical. And I got to tell you something, man. Even this, right? I've never told you why I came up with it. Because I remember that night you were in Greece and we were filming. You remember you were filming a project there. So we were in my apartment and you took a deck of cards. And you said, "Man, I got a present for you." I said, "Okay, go for it." He said, "I want you to shuffle this deck." And I shuffled the deck. And you performed for me the most amazing any card or any number effect had ever seen. I still remember the feeling I had that night. You know, I was amazed. So you left, and I was like, I need to come up with a way to do this. Till today, brother, I have no idea how you did it. I guess you used some of your psychological stuff, but I got no idea how you did it. So I thought that I got to find a way to do this, and that's how I came up with this. So yeah, but that's just theory and stuff. So the idea is basically that there are 3 layers, and you basically, on the 2 layers on the right and the left, there are cards, right? So it's based on the mnemonica stack again. And in the middle line, it's numbers from 1 to 52. So you basically just turn the layers and bring the card they name at the position that they name. And then you look at position number 1, you see at what, and then you know at what card you need to cut the deck in order to create the effect. So that's pretty much it.
So it's really interesting as well, because this is like, it's a perfect example, Romanos, isn't it, of 2 magicians in 2 different parts of the world, both coming up and both discovering the same idea and same principle at different times. And it's just crazy how, like, you know, you both got to Blackpool and you were wearing the ring and Pete was wearing the watch, and it's like such a crazy thing.
And you know, I'm feeling sometimes I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I'm so stupid I didn't talk to Peter before about it, because I've been working for it for such a long time, and I never thought of contacting you for some reason. Because, you know, I was out of the magic industry for a couple of years, so I didn't think of giving you a call, you know, and asking you for a few advices. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And I hadn't showed this to anyone and stuff. It really was a coincidence, the fact that we thought of the same thing. But it was,
yeah, no,
it's fun.
I think it's good. What it did is it allows us to. We always said we were going to get back together in Greece and perform some amazing stuff, and this is the excuse to do it. So, guys, if you're watching, you know, you'll be able to go. You'll be able to see in the near future. I'll be working with Romanos on something that's going to have a full project attached to it that's related to guessing star signs and helping guessing dates of birth and whatever else, with no work whatsoever, because the ring's going to do that element. And so, you know, in the near future, we'll be over there doing that.
Thank you so much.
A reading system inside the ring. We're also working on this, having a reading system.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Thanks for having me here, guys.
Thank you, Romanos. We really appreciate your time.
See you soon, guys.
See you soon. Cheers, dude. So yeah, there you have it. There's a lot more to be built on with the stack range, and so many exciting things coming. So stay tuned. But I think we'll call it there, Pete, just so we can kind of let people know now they can go back and watch the live stream when we've finished. And thanks everyone for joining in. And if you've got any further questions, feel free to email support@illusionist.com. And Chris on our customer service team, he'll email that to us if there's any specific questions that he can't help you with. But other than that, you can now pre-order the Stack Watch at illusionist.com. Search Stack Watch in the top. And if you can't find it for whatever reason, there'll be an email going out in a few minutes with the link to this live stream, as well as the product page for that. So keep an eye out.
Go look back at the performance. You know, I urge you to go back and watch that performance again, just so you can see how slick and easy it is to perform. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and watch us talk about this. What started as a dream is now a reality. And I look forward to hearing about some of your stories. And you heard the story that Romanos just told when I were in his apartment and I performed. He shuffled the deck and I did the perfect burglass effect. And he still remembers that story to today. And with this watch, the people that you perform to will be telling stories like that from now until the end of time. How slick was that, G? Right, guys.
That's the best place to end it.
Take care.